Into the Breach is the second release from Subset Games, with their first, of course, being Faster Than Light. When you compare the two games side by side, it's obvious someone at the studio really likes very challenging sci-fi games, which is fine because I do too. This game reminds me of three things: Edge of Tomorrow in terms of the alien invasion as well as the time travel mechanics. Your in-game objective is to destroy the alien hive. If you fail, your pilots will jump into the breach in order to retry the battle against the alien Vec. It's also reminiscent of Pacific Rim, considering you have giant mechs fighting giant aliens the size of skyscrapers. And it also reminds me of Advance Wars, in terms of gameplay as well as appearance. So Into the Breach is a turn-based tactics game, which is very challenging but also extremely fun to play. While Faster Than Light was a challenging game, I see Into the Breach as much harder to actually beat, and I feel this is due to a variety of reasons. You have less opportunities to trade, there's no random events which you can benefit from, and you're limited to 3 main units. These 3 factors ensure that there's no room for mistakes in your playthrough. The most important thing in the game is the energy grid. While it is fun and beneficial to kill the enemies, the win parameters always rely on you protecting your energy grid and waiting out the clock. You'll lose the game if your power grid goes to 0. And your power is a constant through the entire run, not just one island. You can gain power by doing missions which reward it, or you can purchase it with corporate reputation after finishing an island. You can also purchase energy for your mechs, weapons, and other accessories. The whole trade system is very similar to FTL's, except you can trade only after you finish an island, while in FTL you could trade multiple times per system. The third resource in the game is time pods. These sometimes drop into a battle, and if recovered, you can receive weapons, accessories, and more pilots. You can also receive reactor cores for your mechs. These reactor cores are used to upgrade your mechs. They can be used to improve your stats, upgrade your weapons, or to activate new weapons and accessories that you find. Your pilots also level up, which can give similar benefits. And speaking of pilots, each one comes with a unique ability. There is 4 main islands. Each comes with its own unique environment, hazards, enemies, and missions. There is a 5th island, which is where the final boss fight is. You must complete 2 islands before unlocking it, but you can complete all 4 islands before going there. Into the Breach and FTL are also similar in the sense that I find the boss fight the least enjoyable part. Not that it's bad, but the journey there is always much more fun. The highlight of each run is always about trying out new mech squads you have, or putting them together yourself, or randomizing it. While it is nice to beat the game, you don't have to, it's still fun without achieving it. There's 8 squads and 24 mechs to choose from. Each squad has its own strengths and weaknesses, as well as a unique passive effect, which each squad has their playstyle based around. The mechanics of a battle are easy to pick up but difficult to master. It is turn-based but with a slight twist. Your enemies will always move first, and then they will reveal their planned attacks. It will then be your move to move as well as attack. At first it does sound easy, but then you have to consider your priorities. You have to defend your energy grid. You probably want to achieve some of the side missions for extra bonuses. You don't want your mechs to die, and you'll also want to kill the enemies for more XP. So considering all of that, it is difficult, yet possible, to achieve all of this. And you'll often find yourself sacrificing units or pulling off crazy maneuvers in order to get there. And that's where the fun of the game is. The odds are pretty much always stacked against you, unless you play on easy, which can still sometimes be threatening. Each battle could be your last, and a mistake that you made 2 islands ago could end up ruining your whole run. I feel there's 3 ways to play the game: to win, for achievements, and of course for fun. I often found myself just testing out squad synergies, or sometimes just trying to do challenges to unlock more squads. Each squad has 3 challenges which pertain to their theme, and achieving each challenge will give you a coin to put towards purchasing a new squad. You also get a coin for every achievement, so it's a lot easier to unlock squads than you'd think. There's 4 classes of mechs: Prime, Brute, Ranged, and Science, which will offer a mix of damage, ranged, and support. While every squad has its own strengths and weaknesses, so does each unit. Some are pretty fragile in terms of health, some can only attack in certain patterns, some are often likely to do friendly fire to other units or buildings, some can't even do damage. Many units rely on the environment and synergies in order to be useful. A unit which damages itself when it attacks an enemy doesn't sound that good, but when there's another mech in its squad which can shield it, it ends up working quite well. Mechs which just move an enemy don't sound that good on their own, but when you consider they can position shots for other mechs, they actually become the most important unit. The game is at its best when you're fully utilizing the squad that you've picked. You'll find that you'll rarely win if you don't adapt to the situation and squad that you have. The maps are always changing, as well as the enemies. Each run there will be some point where you find yourself at a disadvantage. It might be because you've got a melee lineup against a lot of flying enemies, or they're against explosive units, or you find that your support units which can't shoot adjacent tiles keep getting stuck into melee. The enemy lineup has a similar class system to the mechs. Some are ranged, some are melee, some are artillery, some just provide buffs, and then you have bosses which come with unique attack patterns as well as modifiers. They're always fun to come up against, and they're not too hard. They are pretty close to the difficulty of a regular unit. Just takes a bit longer to take them down, and you have to be more worried about positioning. And soon enough you'll be at the final battle. It comes in 2 5-turn stages, and it is the most challenging part of a game. The second stage has you defending a bomb. If a bomb gets destroyed, it restarts a 5-turn timer, and if it goes off, you win. Congratulations. Some other remarks: the soundtrack for the game is amazing. It's made by Ben Prunty, who did it for FTL as well. Pretty much any sci-fi soundtrack I love, they all sound beautiful, and this one is no exception. The game looks beautiful. You can tell there's been a lot of thought and effort put into its sprites. It's not surprising at all, considering FTL had the same charm with its sprites. As I jumped into my first battle, when I saw all those skyscrapers, it immediately brought me back to playing Advance Wars, which is another very fun strategy game. I do hope that they add more content to the game in the future, which I'm sure they will. Not to say that it's bare bones, but it doesn't take that long to unlock everything in the game. Especially when you compare how long it would take to unlock everything in FTL, which is fairly long. And the last thing is, I think they can do much more with the game that they have. In terms of game modes, I'd find it really fun if you could get some kind of arena mode where you could fight other mech squads, or let you tweak the parameters for a run. You could change how much energy you start with, or how many mechs that you could put onto a field. Those suggestions aren't really expected or necessary, they're just off of the top of my mind on what would be cool to be in the game. And considering the modding community that FTL had, these are probably going to happen anyway eventually. And as I bring up mods, I just want to say I'm hoping that they can add some Gundam and Evangelion mechs into the game. That would be awesome. The game does well at what it's meant to, giving you a fun and satisfying, yet difficult, turn-based tactical experience. I recommend this game if you're aware that it won't necessarily be an easy experience to start with. Your first win could be dozens of hours away, but similar to many roguelites, one run will never be the same as another. It's more about what you do in the game rather than just winning. It's about testing out all the squad synergies and then making your own to see how it works out. There's guaranteed dozens of hours of gameplay to experience. Also, it's only $15 US if you're concerned about dollars per hour. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed the review, and I hope you enjoy the game if you get it. If you're new to the channel, I recommend clicking subscribe and clicking the bell to see when new reviews are out. Like if you like, dislike if you didn't, comment what you thought. You can follow me on Twitter and join me on Discord. I'm Al, and as always, thanks for watching.